How you doing? My name's Eddie. I got Darren Copeland with
Yo,
me
yo.
over here. We got Randy and we got Lee, and we are the real Iron Mindset. I guess we're just gonna start off by asking Randy, tell me a little bit about himself. You know how he came into it, and he's the coach of our team. We're at Powerflex Gym, and the name of the team is Team Savage.
Team Savage. Savage is one who's perceived to be uncivilized, but is just prone to violence.
Sweet, sweet. So what got you into fighting? Did you start when you were a little kid, or like
Um,
what was the thing that got you
well,
into it?
when I was a little kid, yeah, my dad, took me boxing
No
when I
kidding.
started in judo when I was like 3. Don't remember much of it because I was a little kid.
Right. Where
But
did you grow up? Like where did all this take place? Like where'd you grow up?
well, we bounced around, and
Yep.
then I was in out a little bit of foster care, so we were, you know what I mean. I was all over the place, as a kid. So I lived, but primarily growing up probably Wallingford.
Wallingford? Oh,
Wallingford.
cool.
That's where I got into school.
What was like? Do you remember the first gym? The name of it? Still is it still
Once
around or?
beat the street in Meriden. Yeah, it's still there.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Cool.
Actually, I believe it was Willie Pep
Oh
when I was
shit!
a
Yeah.
little kid there one time when I was hitting
Yeah.
the bags.
Yeah.
Remember him talking about the heart punch somebody in the chest, seeing where the feet are, lining everything up. It was one of the only things I remember, but it's cool. Didn't know who he was then.
No kidding. Did
Yeah.
you know
That's
at that
back when
time when
old
you were?
guys back there would be smoking cigars.
Yeah, yeah. So did you know that young that you know this? I love this.
This
And
is what I want. Oh
want.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is like my lifetime
Definitely
journey.
knew that this is what I
No
wanted
kidding.
to do.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
So
For
start
sure.
off there when you were young, and then like as you progress, like when did it start getting serious for you?
Um, probably right before I went into the Marine Corps, probably around '96. It was because the UFC came out. Trained with Hoist a couple times before he even fought in the UFC at right here in Waterbury, Ron Kozikowski's.
No kidding.
Oh,
That's
really?
cool.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really cool.
And yeah, some good times.
Yeah.
He didn't speak much English,
No.
you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, so we're out at a bar somewhere, and I was an antagonizer. Be like, yo, dude staring at you. This dude, just trying to start trouble. It was fun. He had a temper.
No kidding.
Did he?
That's really
Oh
cool.
yeah, he definitely had a temper. Yeah.
So
He ran through like 40 guys like in a row, like and all. And I'm watching him going. You know what I mean? I was a competitor at the time, so I'm trying to watch him. I want to find a way to win. You know what I mean? Like I think I can do it. You know what I mean? Because you all do, especially when you're young.
Right, right.
But he's running through like there's just literally just a line of us. And some guys are scared, some guys are pumped up, but everybody paid to go do the seminar, and he's just proving it works. And this is back before like people really could fight. Like so, guys. But some of these guys really had a lot of training. They had black belt. They'd be trying to hit him, and he just tie him up and choke him out. But what I saw was like once everybody was in between his legs when they went to pass.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's when people were trying to advance the position. That's when I saw like some of the wrestlers and people like that I thought were smoking me already before I got there. Like
Yeah.
would beat me, but I'm watching them go with them. I'm seeing what they're so. When I got in his guard, that's when I started learning to follow the hips. And I can't remember how long I lasted. I lasted everybody else there though. I mean, he went through probably 20 people in maybe 15 minutes, and I lasted at least 3 minutes for me. But as soon as I went to pass, you know what I mean? He was upset, caught me the triangle, held on to it a little bit long, but I earned it.
Yeah. So you were originally like the first form of fighting you were doing was boxing, straight boxing,
Straight boxing and judo.
and judo.
Judo. But I mean, at that time, I was just doing like tumbles, rolls,
Yeah.
the mats. I don't remember much of that. I remember more of the boxing.
And then when you went to Kozikowski, is that when you started doing more of the ground? fighting,
Yeah. Well, I
grappling?
was at Norwich University. It's a military college in
London, right?
Vermont. Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, Vermont.
Vermont, yeah, right by Montpelier. But Ron Kozikowski was there, and they had signs all over the place: hostage escape, seminar, this and that.
Really, really.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
and
gangster.
right, and then it said Chico Do, and it was like pinching, biting, gouging. You know what I mean? All kinds of cool stuff on there. I was like, yeah,
Everything everybody wants to do.
right. I was like, I gotta go check this guy out, right?
Yeah.
So I went and I watched, caught the tail end of him doing the hostage escape thing, and it started off. He was like, all right, well, first off, you all have got taken hostage and all there. You're a bunch of pussies and cowards. And the only way to get your honor back is to fucking die trying to get out of here. So you're just going to kill this guy, and then you're going to kill that guy. And I was like, I love this guy, I was like, this is awesome, So then the next day I went there for his training, and another great story. Ron, so many great stories around Ron, my training with Ron. But he has this gear that he bought, and he said it was called bear gear. And at the time, they said, you know, a guy could put this on, he could wrestle with a bear, and a bear couldn't hurt him. It had a lot of padding.
Right.
But this piece had a face shield across it, and we started using motorcycles helmets after this because of this reason. He's like, you know, somebody tackled me, and I learned after, you know, being in the military, which I'm sure, you know, everybody here's been in the military, like you learn not to volunteer for nothing.
Right.
But at this point in my life, like volunteering is still a good idea. You know? Yeah, he's like, you know, somebody tried to tackle me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I'm playing college ball. Like I could have played D1 ball. I went D3 because I was like, I wanted to start my first year. I wanted to have fun. I didn't want it to be a job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm there. I'm like, I could tackle him. Like this is cake. I got this. Give me that helmet. I'm putting it on. I'm like, I'm gonna tackle him. And yeah, I got him down. But man, I fucking ate so many elbows, and his elbow was hitting. The way the padding was on this, he was hitting in between all the padding spots. I had like, you seen cartoons where they get little bumps.
How many lumps you want?
Yeah, and I'm so glad I had a face shield because I probably ate 5, 6 eye jabs and knees, you know, at the elbows. But you know what I mean. But I was like, yeah, man, I'm gonna start doing this.
Okay. That was once you got like how old were you by this time?
21.
20, so
21.
still young buck.
Yeah, 21.
About your age, right? You're
Yeah,
21 now too. No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. And that was the whole Kozakowski thing. That's really cool. So how long were you with him?
All the way up till shit, man, I was with Ron all the way up till like probably still him, you know what I mean? Even though he's not talking to me right now, all the way up
Right.
to like, you know, maybe 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
No
You
kidding.
know, yeah.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah.
And I've probably known this kid since he was like 2 years old.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
But
Leeds
yeah, no,
actually-
I knew Lee's father and his uncle
Uh-huh.
so I'd met him a long time ago,
Right.
and then he just came back when he started training at the gym. How many years you been here? A few years.
Been
At
here,
least.
like, I came here when I was like 15. So
Yeah.
like 6 years.
Yeah, so he's been here for
Oh, okay.
a few years
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, believe it or not, he started at Ron's too,
Yeah, so
in a
you
way.
so like when did you first get into it? Like what was your thing that made you want to get into fighting anyways, you know?
I think, honestly, I just get into stuff. Sometimes people want to fight me, and I was like overweight and stuff.
Yeah.
So my
Right.
mother was like, I'm gonna sign you up for this.
Yeah.
And I was taught by Vinny Brightman at Ron's.
Oh no kidding.
Yeah,
How old
so-
were you when you started this then?
I was about 12.
Oh,
Oh, so you're 12, so you've been going at this constantly, or did you take some breaks in between, or were you just
Only COVID. I didn't even take a break really in COVID because
Really?
I found someone
So you've been
else.
training and
Yeah.
you were at Ron's at that time too?
Oh yeah, I was training with you during COVID. You're right. Yeah.
No kidding. So what was your like? Did you first get into like? Were you grappling? Was it an
Jiu-jitsu.
MMA style? So it was just straight jujitsu in the
Yeah,
beginning,
In the gi, cardio kickboxing classes. That's
right? That's what like kind of got you into it.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
really cool.
it's not. I didn't really originally want to do MMA. It was originally just jujitsu,
Mhm.
and then like I started wrestling and kickboxing for fun, and I was like, oh, why not just do MMA? You know, there's no money in jujitsu.
Right.
And this stuff seems a little bit more fun than jujitsu, honestly.
No kidding. That's really cool. That's awesome. So so how long did you train at Kozakowski's for? Like
I
before
think
because you obviously guys came here.
I think I was there with Vinny for maybe like 2 or 3 years. Then he moved and got his own gym in Naugatuck.
How long did it take you to get to like when you were in there, like belt wise, how like progressing belts and stuff like that
I'm
for
still,
jujitsu?
I think it took me like a year and a half to get a gray belt, and
Yeah.
then another year for like my yellow white. Then I got my yellow. Then I think at like 4 or 5 years in, I got my blue belt,
Mhm.
and then no, maybe at 5 years I got my purple at like 3,
Mhm.
3.5 for my blue, and now I've been a purple for like a good 4 years, you know.
Now, how long before you think you get to a black belt, or are you
Been
still? Are
purple
you
since
still?
99.
Yeah, you're the original purple belt.
Right? I'm making purple belts cool.
Yeah. Do you think are you going for the black belt? Or are you gonna try to? Or are you gonna stray away and go more towards fighting?
You know, I want my black belt, but I'm
Right.
like, it's all about the coaching I could get, where I could get it not training in the gi, because right now I'm not training in the gi right now. I'm gonna
Right.
go back to the gi, but right now I'm focused on MMA
Yeah.
training a lot of catch, wrestling, and still doing no-gi jiu-jitsu. But a lot of people, they don't want to work with you if you don't want to work in the gi.
Right.
That's really, really cool.
I worked in the gi for a long time. That was like the majority before MMA. I was more gi than anything.
And the transfer from gi to no gi, you like it better? Which one is like?
I just feel like no gi gives me the drive to be a better athlete.
I feel like no gi is how you would fight normally. You know?
No, because you grab someone's clothes.
Yeah,
So I
but
would say-
you grab somebody's clothes. The way clothes are made today, shit's
You're
ripping.
rip-
It's
yeah.
that gi is made out of
Still,
steel.
still clothes.
It
still
yeah,
works.
Still, yeah. The
It
grips,
still
the throw. Like you guys wearing sweatshirts, you get choked out and thrown
Oh, yeah.
so bad.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing you be able to do. You know what I mean? Somebody that really knows how to throw and grab that stuff. You're going for
So
rides.
in that community, right? So people like say the gi, they look down on the no gi. You think or no?
No, they're just different sports at this point. Wouldn't you
Alright.
agree? Like, it's just a lot of old school jujitsu instructors. You have to train a gi.
Right.
Like now, there's a lot more black belts being given to guys that aren't wearing gis or belts for that matter. Like because there's more no gi competitive black belts out
Right.
there.
I don't
So
think.
it's changing, but I think it's important to have both.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like they're their own entities. Like
Yeah.
I love training the gi. I didn't think it was fair to roll with me with the gi when I was rolling with the gi back then because a lot of people didn't. It was mostly karate guys. So
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first started training, it was Muay Thai, Muay Thai, Muay Thai. And we went up, I forgot the name of the school. The one up by the 7-Eleven on Merida Road. The small one, what's the guy's
Ron
name?
used to go there, I think, too.
Yeah, well, we went up there one time
So
just
you
to do a little
were
training with the
that guy
guys.
over there.
And let me tell you something. These guys, I didn't know anything about the ground game. These guys, I was getting choked out and smacked around like it was my job. I said, hold on. I need to learn this. This is like something I want to do too. It's a life-changing event when you go from stand up to the ground.
Well, yeah.
Because
Wow.
most guys that stand up, you go to the ground, it's like a fish out of water.
College, I fought a wrestler. Like, it was just a play fight, just drinking, talking
Yep.
shit, you know what I mean? And I was like, all right, let's go. You know what I mean? And he put me down 3 times. There was nothing I could do about it. I couldn't hit him. He wasn't even trying to beat me up. He was just like, you want me to let you up again? He could have gave me a wet willy and a wedgie if he wanted. Like, that's how I felt anyway. I was mad. I was like, I'm going to get him this time.
Yep.
And I wasn't really that drunk. Like, I was still crisp. It's just, you know what I mean? I just had my judo didn't help because I wasn't even thinking in that mindset at that point.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like clinching up, going for nothing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He was just hitting low and putting me up and putting me down.
That's really cool.
But like 6 months, a couple semesters later, I armbarred him. Because I started training.
That stuff goes a long
Yeah.
way. And once you start learning, it's like you'll never know everything because
No.
even when you've been doing it for years and years, you're like, whoa, I never seen that before. Like there's so much stuff. There's the basics, which a lot of people use when you watch the fights on TV, right? There's your basic arm bars, triangle chokes, rear naked chokes, ankle locks, like basics. And then there's, more elaborate things that you can get into, like a Russian necktie or, all these other things.
Well, plus they're all applied differently.
Yeah.
Like my arm bar setup could be different than his arm bar
Yes.
setup
Yep.
and his arm bar setup. Like me as a coach, it's challenging as a coach because I got guys that come from all different levels of training, but they want to compete. You know what I mean? And I find different body styles, certain setups work better. Some guys have hips, they can just, they're right in it.
Yeah.
Some guys, they gotta push off their leg and go this way and that way. Some guys, they can pull it. And, you know what I mean? Everybody's got a little bit of a different body style. Some guys have to go to their stomach. Some guys got to go straight up with their hips, depending on where their power and their leverage is. So, that's why I like pulling from all the different grappling systems that I've trained in, because it helps. And having guys that come in with experience, like Lee brought his experience in, so it gives a different flow. It gives all the other guys different looks.
So when was like your first legit fight? Like what was your mindset when you were? How long did you train? Before that happened.
Well, the first fight memory that I have is like 1984.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm boxing.
How old were you?
1984. That'd make me 10.
Okay.
So yeah.
So it was a straight up boxing match.
Yeah.
When do you remember?
Don't remember if I won. Don't remember if I lost.
I just
remember
remember
being
that
scared, seeing people out in the ropes, being like, "Go," you know what I mean, and fighting. You know what I mean.
As an adult.
As
an adult.
an adult, going to, I think it was one club round here
Like
somewhere.
a smoker.
Yeah, well, Ron brought me somewhere, and it was like on a wood floor, big chairs all around, and nobody was speaking no English. I think it was like an
Wait,
Albanian club
it's
or
the
something.
Albanian club. Actually, that's Phil. That's the one Zook goes to.
Really?
Remember, I told you. I said, listen, if we need a spot to do a
Right,
fight,
right.
he's probably the guy.
Yeah.
We could get that spot over there.
But-
That's the same place you probably had your first adult fight.
Went there, and there's guys outside smoking cigarettes.
Yeah,
They're coming in and fighting. It's like,
like definitely a backyard style kind of fight.
yeah. I fought a good guy though. I fought Les Richardson, who ended up opening up the MMA gym, the Blue Devils, and I won. Blue Devils. It was in, I think it was like in Bristol, thinking or West Hartford or something. He's moved out to South Carolina now. He's closed up and gone. But yeah.
So that was your first like legitimate kind of illegitimate
Right.
and then mixed martial arts
like
using like
Ron,
inventory.
at that time, you know, because the only show in town was the UFC, and they only had 1-2 a year.
Right.
You know
And it was
what I mean?
illegal to do in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, it was illegal to do.
Fighting was
pretty much.
Yeah, you got to be.
Like when I
it
fought-
wasn't even sanctioned
Right.
under boxing commission by that time.
Ron was taking me places where, you know, they'd be. I remember being nervous sometimes because you go in, and these guys are like, you know what I mean? They're like 35, got black belts, thumbs in their belts, and I'm like, oh shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was just running through people. Nobody had any grappling, you know what I mean? And my boxing was really good at the time. So a lot of the karate guys, they couldn't handle the boxing. And I had a good round kick, so it was like, you know, I was doing really well. When I got back from the Marine Corps, I had an acceptance letter from Art Davey, who was the matchmaker for the UFC at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, you know, when you're out, you get through, you know, school and stuff, you know what I mean? You're in. And I'm like, nice. So I was pumped for that, and I was home, and this is before I met Kip Kohler, and one of my buddies told me that
from Naga, right?
One of my buddies told me that there's a bare knuckle fight that's going on right here in Connecticut, and I was like, where? And they're like, come on, let's go. So like you gotta understand, like I was gone. I was such a party before I went to Marine Corps. I basically went to Marine Corps so I didn't have to go to jail. Right. You know what I mean? This was still when that was a thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, Your Honor, he's gonna go to the Marine Corps. You know. So, but anyway, so you know, I'm drinking. Think I had a couple Percocets I took that day. You know what I mean? Like I was feeling really good, right? So, and we get to this parking lot, and they're like, somebody's on a radio, and they're like, yeah, they're cool. Okay, all right, you guys gotta go here. I'm like, what? So we had to go to another parking ride, meet another group of people. So now we had a bigger group of people at this parking ride. So we're getting close, you know. Then we went to another spot where there's even larger group of people, and then we took all those people and went to where the fights were, and they were in like. I don't even know where it was. It was just across the Connecticut line to Rhode Island, and it was like in a big barn, dirt floor with like a ring set up in the middle of it, just fucking packed, fucking people, right? So I'm excited because now I'm gonna get to see this, and this is something that I want to do. You know what I mean? So I was really excited, and then they're like, hey, does anybody in the crowd want to fight? You know, we had somebody pull out. Fighting somebody from the Gracie family. They've been undefeated for 70 years. I'm like, opportunity to fight one of the Gracies or something. I was like, yeah, no, my buddies that were there like chanting, row, 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 you know. So I was like, hey, put me in. And it turns out it's actually it was a local guy from here. I think he was like assistant or captain of police for Waterbury for a while. Ed Pacilio.
Oh yeah. Heard of him.
Yeah. Yep. So it was Ed Pacilio who used to train at Ron's. He was, remember when I told you when I started the story with Ron that there was some guys there that were grapplers that were way better than me.
Yeah.
I was watching little Eddie was one of those guys. He was just way better than I was all the way up to that point. So I was like, oh great. So now I'm fighting Eddie. So I'm fighting one of my instructors. This is awesome. Right? So but I went in the back and like, you know, I just got out of boot camp, so I was already in the right mindset and I was already a little bit liquored up, and you know, I saw Eddie. I was like, hey Eddie. I was like, what's up? I guess we're gonna be doing this. And he was like, yeah. And then I could tell that, you know, Eddie was a little bit nervous because, you know, way Ron trained us back then, it's like, you know, is this guy gonna have a grudge? Is he gonna like, you know what I mean? Is this guy, is he still cool with me or he's not? I was like, you know, Eddie, we're still cool, you know. We're just doing this, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember they had like you got over in here, like it had the steel beams, like.
Yeah.
and it was like Tung Po. It was like a movie that just came out, Bloodsport. And I was like, fuck it, I'm warming up. So I'm like, fuck it, you know what I mean? I'm like, so I had everybody in there. It's like, what the fuck's wrong with this dude? Like I was shaking it and shit. I was like, yeah, I was getting all fucking pumped up. Mind you, I had a few Percocets in me too, you know. So and so then I came out and I ended up beating Eddie and it was a pretty good fight. Um, I kicked him with a leg kick so hard his shoulders and head hit the mats before his body did. Like just kicked him completely, off his feet. And he ended up I was doing really well, but he ended up getting on top of me. He was in a great position, and he fell for the old bait trick. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, here's my arm. Take it, take it, So he was like, oh, armbar, and he went for the armbar, and I was like, she popped up, bang, bang, and just came up and started whacking on him, because I put it in the right spot. You know what I mean? I just wiggled my fingers. That was my thing when somebody would go for a mount or something, before I start moving, do a little finger tap, so they grab right for it, and then I go for it. I sat up, so I pulled out the dub on that, so it was good.
Afterwards, you guys were cool. Like, hey,
Yeah,
great fight, great fight. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
But you lost.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how you do it. Yeah. Well, that's
No,
really
but
cool.
the best part of that story is that's how I ended up fighting Tim Sylvia, though. Tim
Yeah.
Sylvia showed up there. He was supposed to fight that night.
And this was before he was.
Right, yeah, this was before anybody knew
But
who he
still
was.
had a fist the size of
Oh,
three.
he was 325 pounds, like
Yeah.
just a big fucking fat kid from Maine.
Yeah.
Looked like Baby Huey. You ever see that one where I don't know what movie it is, where the guy's got the dead mouse that's in his pocket? You know what I mean? And this guy's like half retarded and he's playing with it. Anyway, but good description. But Tim Sylvia shows up, and when he shows up, everybody's like, "Holy shit!" And the dude that was there to fight him was a good sized kid, 240, 250, 6 feet, but like was just like, "Fuck out of here!" He took his bag and left, just didn't say nothing to nobody, just left.
Really?
Oh yeah, just left. You know what I mean? Now Tim's snapping on everybody, like snapping on the promoter, snapping on everybody.
How was his English? I don't remember his English being good.
He's special. He's from Maine.
Oh,
He's a nice guy.
Maybe a different guy I'm thinking about. My brother insulted somebody.
The right guy. But anyway, so he's snapping and talking about everybody's scared. Everybody's scared to fight me because he drove like 8 hours. And yeah, he drove. I mean, it sucks. It happens to my guys all the time when we go somewhere. You know what I mean? But you just got to suck it up. You can't, taking up our time. Yeah. So I started to snap because I got a couple of pet peeves. One of them's like, if a high-end pro comes in, if one of my guys is like, oh my God, look who that is. You know what I mean? I'm going to kick him in his ass so hard. That pisses me off. And another one is like wasting time. Like, like with stupid shit like this, when other guys have cut weight, our opponents are here, we're ready to go. Like, this is what we're here to, so it's disrupting everybody's focus.
Right.
So I'm like, listen, nobody's fucking scared to fight you. It's just you're too fucking big. There's nobody here to fight you. I'll fight you next time. I took his title, threw it in the garbage. I said, today you're my fan. You're here to see me. I win, I'm fighting you. You know what I mean? And like, honestly, like, he just didn't look that big at that time. I remember when I was fighting him and I'm in the ring and I'm like, I'm probably in the best shape I ever, bulked up. You know what I mean? He steps up to the top rope and he just goes over the top ropes. And I'm like, what the fuck? The fuck? 6'8" looked really big then. 12 inches taller, 125 pounds heavier. Yeah, I had a great time.
How was the first punch?
Oh, he didn't really hit me with anything clean. You know what I mean? He got me with a few elbows, like once not to. That was terrible. You know what I mean? But before that, on our feet, no, I was rocking him on our feet. He didn't want none of this. He tried to grab onto me, and I went for a standing like head arm like thing that I could hit on most people, like my body lock, and I get up on somebody, I got him, and he was just like, you know what I mean? Like he just, no shot. And then in the guard, I went for an arm bar, and it's like my legs were just too small. I passed, got him out. It went 10 minutes.
That's a long fight.
Yeah. And
that's a long
they
fight.
gave him the dub. If it had another 10 seconds, I had him though, because I was just bridged out and mount and hit the heel hook on him. And I know his legs were messed up after the fight. I mean, he went to the hospital after. They got pictures. He had big ice bags on his head. He had a concussion. He was all banged up. I was at the bar drinking. 15 minutes later, still pissed off about it. You know what I mean? Because to me, I just ran out of time. You know what I mean? Like I didn't shouldn't have been a time limit.
So that fight wasn't even set up. That fight
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
taken.
Yeah, that was 'cause, yeah. I gave up the title I won that night fighting that facility. It was like in my weight, so I didn't give a fuck about that. I wanted UFC didn't have weight classes at the time,
Yeah.
so I was training for that, so I didn't care. I was like, oh, you know,
That's really cool.
yeah.
What about you, fight wise? Your first, how many fights have you had so far?
What counts? Just the actual amateur fights?
Yeah, whatever. MMA fights, amateur fights.
First amateur fight was for ammo. I fought Logan Bond, who I fought in the smoker in the past. It was pretty cool. It was the experience. I was able to use my grappling and a little bit of my striking, and won a very close match with it.
That's really cool.
I was like, it definitely was a new concept. I was definitely hyped though for like my fight. I was like training harder. I was going to seminars. I was like doing everything. I was watching videos, studying. I still studied my stuff, but just doing everything. You know, it's like if I'm gonna get into this, I'm gonna prepare it to the
100%.
max. You know,
Absolutely.
that's why I come here every day.
And you got a fight coming up, right?
Yes.
Now, where's this fight gonna be? What's the date? You remember?
I believe it's July 8th, and I'm not. It's in Maine, right? I'm not
I think so. It's
sure
either
where.
Maine or Vermont. It's up there.
Yeah, I'm not sure where in Maine, but I know it's in
And
Maine.
we'll be posting that stuff.
Yeah,
They'll be
yeah.
posting it online.
We found ourselves a tough guy, so we're
Yeah,
going into hometown.
And who's this guy? You're going right. You're going to his house.
Oh yeah, we're going.
to his house.
Yeah, we're going to his house because you know what?
He,
They can't find nobody around his house that wants to fight him. So
Really?
yeah, so they're gonna have us come up there to fight him. So we'll go up there and beat him up. That's all right.
Nice.
That's part of getting him ready for the next level anyway. Because once we go pro, I'm taking him. You know what I mean? There's so many other shows. You know what I mean? You watch UFC Fight Pass. There's so many other shows that get so much more exposure than the ones out here. And out here, everybody knows us out here. We know everybody's style out here. We'll go across there. You know what I mean? It'll get us more exposure. And yeah, you might have a tough fight, but it's no tougher than what we're trying to do. We're trying to go to that level anyway. So, and this gets you that traveling experience, the hotel, the whole prepping, the planning. You know what I mean? The discipline of what we're trying to do. Plus, until you make it, like at least get a trip. At least you're gonna have one night after your fight that you can go out and enjoy yourself, go back to a hotel room. You know what I mean? Before you gotta pack up and head back to, you know what I mean? So, it's, so that's what we're trying to do.
Well, let's talk about your program a little bit. Like, what do you guys do? What your training's like? How many days a week you do it? Obviously, you train out of PowerFlex Gym.
We face punch just about 7 days a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If the guys aren't here, they got homework. Right now, working with just pretty much guys that want to be pros, guys that are trying to fight.
Yeah.
Guys that have a dog in them that are looking to compete. So and I'm only training champions right now, so they're going for champion workout.
So now you're not really training people who are just want to get in for the sport.
They're-
You want people that are going to be training to actually start fighting.
We're setting the facility up for those people, and those people are more welcome to come down. But you know what I mean? They've got to have a governor on themselves.
Yeah.
Because as coach, I'm gonna push you. You know what I mean? And like we've had a couple guys come in here that were tough guys that probably would still be here if I was like, hey, slow down. But I'm gonna push you. You know what I mean? Like that's just what I do.
So when you set up the new spot, you're gonna have more like kids programs. You'll have like a few different classes going on there. Obviously, you're gonna have a whole
kids
day.
program, and then we're gonna have it'd be more set up for people that are coming in that are got to go to work the next day.
Yeah, want to be in
Right,
shape.
you know what I
Want to
mean?
be in shape, learn a little
Right,
something,
right,
then you'll have your
that-
fighters.
Right. But they're still going to have access to the guys. They're still going to, you know what I
So
mean?
we'll be able to
The guys
train
still,
with them also.
Yeah. And like when we do our group runs and stuff like that, it's still going to be a
Everybody
team.
together.
Still got to be a team atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's got to be I've got to have enough room to work with them as well as work with the fighters. And right now, I just don't have the time or the room. Right now, I'm just working with guys that are trying to fight, or even if they're just beginners coming in, they're ready to push it. You know what I mean? Like, we've got guys that have made incredible improvements in a year. You know what I mean? Got guys who've been training with me for a year and they already got 2 fights, 3 fights they're already pushing. You know what I mean? But that's because they've got dog in them and they're in here every day and they're working.
So hoping by like the summer maybe to have everything set up and then start pulling people in. You get kids program, all that stuff like by the summer.
Yeah, by summer. And hopefully somebody's smart enough to start making an investment. You know what I mean? That's That's the other thing. You know, we got Lee. We got a lot of guys that are fighting. I keep my guys in some of the local shows that are big.
Yeah.
For local sponsorships. You know what I mean? People
Like,
that.
what would, like, say somebody says, hey, they're watching right now, I want to sponsor this thing. What would they, how would
Well,
they go about it?
for the contact you first off, contact us, and you know, and the first thing I like to have Lee do, give me your expenses for what you spend on your supplements. What's your gym membership?
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
So
then,
gym membership,
but
some
slowly
expenses,
and then slowly we start trying to, as a coach, I start trying to chip away at those
pay
expenses.
for travel, for
Right.
going to fights,
Stuff
pay
like,
for,
yeah, exactly. And in return, shout outs, posting them up on their Instagrams, you know what I mean? Just giving
maybe
them a good push. And also, if there's people out there that want to be silent partners, silent backers, silently help out some of these young kids. These are good guys that are trying to get an edge. So
what would you guesstimate somebody would have to donate or put up? Would it be 500 a month, 1,000 a month? Like, what would you think would be, like, for what Lee's doing now? Somebody says, hey, I want to sponsor Lee at the bracket he's in right now, fighting here and there and training every day. And what would you think would cost somebody to sponsor him? You know, and what would somebody expect if I'm giving you $100 a month, or if I'm giving you 1,000?
Right.
What should I expect to get back for my return
well, you know,
if I want it?
well, first off, you should expect nothing except that Lee's going to get the best out of it that he can, and you're helping him make it to the top. And when
No, I'm
he
saying
gets
like advertisement. Say I own
or
a machine shop or something.
you'd have to like, or right now, sponsors that would make sense. It has to be something that makes sense. Because sometimes people talk to me, I tell them, like, you know what, this is not going to make sense for you, but if this, you're going to write this off, you know what I mean? And you're looking down big picture, you just want to be a part of this, that's great. But for a sponsor that makes sense, it'd have to be somebody that has like a restaurant maybe in the area. Because then, you know what I mean? Because then now we can refer people there. We could show up there after we're done training. We have, you know, mats here. We have kids that are having birthday, but we could start bringing business to your place. You know what I mean? Somebody maybe that sells cars. You know what I mean? We could start handing out cards. We could put you on our shirts. You know what I mean? So it really depends on what they're looking for and who they are.
Right, but
How we
now
set
let's
that
just say
package
I'm
up.
investing in them, and what happens to me once he goes pro? Becomes, do they just leave me in the dust? Once he goes
Right,
pro,
you know,
do I? Am I just like out of now? I got to go find another one to sponsor.
No, you got to understand too. Well, it depends where he goes pro. He goes pro in the UFC. He can't wear nothing. It's only stuff outside that he could be marketing wise, as far as what he say, like his Instagram, his stuff. You know what I mean? Because they're pretty much going to own him once he gets to that point. You know what I mean? But up to that point, you know what I mean? We got all the live streams and all the shows that he's competing in now.
Right.
That stuff's always going to be out there. You know what I mean? His Instagram stuff always out there. Shirts he wears now, it's gonna be out there. The shirt he could wear everywhere but when he goes to the weigh-ins and
okay, so he can still promote.
related.
He can still promote my business
Right,
or whatever I got going on, but
yeah, and you know, and then of course you know you come out to the fights and stuff, and you know what I mean, and be a part of the team too. Like you know, I encourage anybody that's putting money into the guys to actually come and be a part of them because a lot of them are great guys, and you want to be a part of that as that growing process going. You want to see it happening, you know. And they're at the perfect stage. I got 3 guys right now, possibly be going pro around this time next year. All 3 of them UFC bound. All have that, you know, PFL, UFC, one fighting championship. They all have that caliber. You know what I mean? It's just which one. I got guys that are close in the same weight classes, so I might have to put them in, you know, because we're going to take everything that we go for. You know what I mean? So one of them might
that's
go
the
PFL.
mindset.
Right. Well, that's it's the only mindset you can have.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially if you're in a face punching business. You know.
so if anybody out there is watching and they want to sponsor Lee, hit us up. You know.
If you want to make a great investment.
Right.
Because that's really what it is. You're making an investment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I just have a question. Like,
what? It doesn't take much. You know.
Right. I'm gonna get back to you on that though. When this is over. Like, does your diet change? Like, prior to the fight, you know what I'm saying? Like for like bodybuilding, because this to me, I'm like, this is out of my fucking realm right here. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, my diet, I used to be heavier. When I was heavier, I was like 240. I hopped on keto. I lost like 40 pounds of fat, and I leaned out a lot. And I just, from now, it's been more. I've been at the same weight, but just recomposition. Like my body's putting on more muscle. And fat. Right. It's just like my diet is. To be honest, my diet's not the prettiest. I just get my protein in.
With Lee, I try, like each fighter, their body's different. Right. So it goes differently. And as they get better and better, they get more sponsorship and stuff, and I can take them to a nutritionist, and they get, because as he starts to get more muscular, getting leaner, it starts getting harder to make the 185. Starts getting harder to make those weight classes.
Right.
That's when he's got to start getting sharper. And like some of the guys that start off drink a glass of water before every meal. That's how their diets start. You know what I mean? Because the food will digest better. It'll register their fuel faster. And for Lee, it's really just burn more than you bring in. Where he's at right now.
Right.
As long as he's not getting bigger. As long as he keeps burning more than he's putting in, you know what I mean? So each guy, it's a little bit different, right? I like to put my guys, and Lee hates this, but this is when he gets to that point where he doesn't have a choice. He's like Nestor's at that point right now. Like some guys are just rockheads and just don't get it, you know, and they have to learn the hard way, and they like learning the hard way. But it's like isogenics is one of the things that we do. Isogenics, have you heard of isogenics?
No.
Isogenics is a great it's a calorie deprivation, like fast type thing. You'd have to look it up. I'm not gonna be ignorant and try and speak about it, but it's
It helps you lose weight,
it,
basically.
like
You don't
the guys,
eat shit.
but the guys don't lose muscle. Like they're losing weight and they're not losing muscle, and they're losing, and it's working for them. So I have the guys doing that. They're getting harder and harder for them to cut their weight, and they do it like a week out before the fight. It's
Okay.
like a
All right.
it's like a 8-day fast. Like you do 2 prep days where you just have 2 shakes a day, 1 600-calorie meal, and then you have 2 fast days, and then you have 2 shake days, 2 fast days, 2 shake days, and then you're done. You know, so, and you got a little bit of snacks in between, 200-calorie snacks.
Right.
So, but it gets the guys focused. The only thing is when they're cutting weight like that or dieting like that, I can't really be pushing them hard.
Too much, right.
And mentally, they could start getting a little bit weaker. You know what I mean? So you don't want them starting to doubt technique and doubting themselves.
Mhm.
So you know what I mean? And every fighter's a little bit different. I got some guys though that, you know what? You just throw them in the sauna. They got cut 20 pounds and they're just like, yeah, and they're in the sauna, and they get out the sauna, yeah, they're still fine. And I got other guys who put them in the sauna and they're in there for not even 2 minutes and they're like fucking ready to die.
Right.
Like they hate it. You know what I mean? And they're gonna die, but those guys will diet right because they don't want to go to that. And some guys, you know what I mean? That's not a bad deal for them, so they're okay with that. You know what I mean? And as a coach, it's just me figuring out, and that's what the amateurs are so good for, because it helps me figure out, because each guy's a little bit different. Their warm-ups are a little bit different.
So I'm listening to you. It's like you as a coach. It's the same thing like when I was prepping people for bodybuilding. So you fucking have to know each and every fucking person.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Their ins and outs and this and that shit. So I'm listening to him like, damn, this fucking dude knows his shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like
You got it.
you have to know your shit, dude.
Well, because, you know, I'm dealing with, like, their well-being. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
they're going out there, and, like, I've never had anybody, I've only had Aiden get starched. You know?
What is that? What is that?
Never mind.
I've only had one guy, like, go out and just totally get starched, like, right off the bat. And, you know, it's never going to happen again. You know?
What is starch?
So you laid the fuck out.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
Like it was obvious they shouldn't have been in there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and we could have been more prepared.
right.
But other than that, I've never had anybody. You know what I mean? Everybody's come out fine. Even guys that have had really tough fights have come out totally fine. You know what I mean? Like nobody's ever
Because
been
this
shot.
shit, it weighs on your head prior to a fight, right? Like, fuck. Like,
Yeah.
injuries and all this
Well,
shit.
you know, for me it was terrible because after I got whacked by a car and I had like 11 surgeries and stuff, and if I wasn't on pain meds, I probably would have known how bad I was hurt because I was taking pain meds. I
Right.
stepped back in there and tried to fight again. So, but that was always in the back of my head. It was like, well, I can't, you know, I don't want this to happen. I don't want my leg to pop out this way,
Right.
so I can't go here. And, you know, and second guessing yourself. And that's, you can't have, you know, he who hesitates, meditates in a horizontal position. That's Ed Parker, Ryan Clark. It's,
When did you decide to be a coach? Like when did you
I
actually
didn't have a
decide to go on your own and say, you know, I'm gonna have my own team and this is what I'm gonna put together? Like when was that?
We'd have to get Ted Gavola out here for that. And, just the guys, like guys were just on me about it. Like guys that like we were all just training like together, and guys were like, you know, you should be the coach. I was like, no, I don't want to be the coach.
I want to fight
I
people.
want to, I want to fight. And I was, and I was trying to do both for a while, but I was definitely a much better coach than I ever was a fighter.
Really?
You know what I mean? Absolutely, yeah, 100 times a better coach. Even after, losing my faculties and regaining my faculties, I'm still a better coach.
Not a lot of people can admit that.
Right.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people would say I'm a better coach than I am a fighter.
Fighter.
They would. Not a lot of people would say that. Absolutely not. Like, much respect to that shit. That's never respectful.
Well, I work with fighters. You got to know when to roar and when not to roar in what I do too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, because you see it all the time. You know what I mean? Like, or I'll take Lee to a mat and he'll be like an older guy and he'll be like, hey man, I'm like 50, go light with me. And he'll be like, ah! You know what I mean? He'll fucking go nuts. You know what I mean? Like, so you always gotta, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta just, you gotta know your limits. That goes back to like what we were saying before. Like, regular people coming in will get the same benefits as far as the weight loss, the confidence,
It's a big deal. The confidence is a big deal.
and not only and I don't just mean confidence, the ability to handle yourself. Just looking in the mirror, like I love it when I got a kid that's coming who, you know what I mean, is like kind of shy, but now he's heads up.
Kevin.
You know what I mean? We we get kids like, parents out there. You got your kids are one of them umi kids. What are they? What's that music that Kevin listens to or listens to?
That weird Japanese.
Yeah, or that all dark, or all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sign them up. You know what I mean? Like, get them around some, you know what I mean? Get them with some healthy, like, just natural. If you watch animals, like young animals play, they play the same way that we're gonna be playing. You know what I mean? And that's, except for it's not out in the jungle trying to find a pecking order. It's like actually having fun and getting better at it, getting into shape. So it's functional fitness too. It's stuff that they could take into, you know what I mean? Like if you play golf, you're gonna be able to use this in your golf game. If you play tennis, you play tennis. If you're a swimmer, we got one kid who's does triathlons. He trains with us.
Nice.
Robbie. You know
Robbie
what I mean?
does triathlons?
Yeah.
What the hell?
So I got Matt. Matt's he's an amputee. You know what I mean? He's getting ready to train with me right now, getting ready for a grappling match. You know what I mean? And like,
tough kid.
Yeah.
Tough kid.
Yeah. And of course, he had second guesses and. You know what I mean? You have to play the head game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Be a champ. You got to be a champ at everything you do in life. And sometimes that means you got to cut some stuff away to really focus on some stuff. But you know what I mean? It's you just got to get everything in alignment, and he is. So he's back in here training now. So it would have been easy for him to quit, but he had a savage mindset.
See, that's what I'm talking about. We were talking about like drug addiction. Like, what does it take for you to fucking say, you know what, I'm done with this. It's a savage fucking mindset.
Right.
Like, I'm done with this. Or,
like. Got to build that mind.
Right. Or, like, fuck, if I do it, you're on the verge of losing the fucking fight, but you're not going to fucking quit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're just not.
That testicle.
Goldberg. It was like.
It's that first time you get hit and your bell's rung, what do?
Right.
Some guys fold, some guys fucking shake it off, and they go back in.
Some guys just swing it. It's my job to get them to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, right back isn't always the best thing. Sometimes moving a little bit.
Yeah.
And then put it back. Because if he just whacked me good and I'm going to whack him good, now I'm still in range for him to whack me again good.
Right.
Which makes sense. That makes complete sense.
Right. So, but.
So right now, what do you guys got? How many guys you got on the team?
I
don't even know. I see everybody every day.
Yeah, I think there's around 11 of us.
Around 11.
Oh, you do?
What about active fighters? How many active fighters you got?
Active fighters, I think we got 8 of us. Right?
8 active fighters?
Well, we'll count Hal, even though Hal's on his way out. I pulled Hal because Hal has been training a lot lately.
Yeah.
But we got Robbie, got you, we got Jake, Nestor, and Joe. And Kevin. Yeah. That's 7.
So, what if I was a guy off the street and I wanted to be a fighter? I come to you, like...
Get your ass beat.
You're gonna come here. You're gonna get your ass beat.
What would it take for me to get... Like, how long does it usually take somebody from going from 0 to maybe a smoker or a grappling match all the way up to, like,
depends.
The UFC? Do you think somebody could do it, like, fast, or is that something
like the stage where I'm at right now and the crew we got going right now, it really depends on the athlete and on his ability to not just train, but to do everything right. Meaning he's got to get his rest in, he's got to get his eating in. I mean, he's got to, you know what I mean? There's a lot. It's not just coming to the gym and what I'm showing you. It's really what you take out when you leave. You know what I mean? It's like what you're
A
doing.
full-time job, you think,
Right,
or
like,
can you do it part-time?
Lee's gonna be a champion. It's gonna look like an overnight success to everybody, but it's been years and years of hard work.
Right,
It's been hours of doing things when nobody's watching him, and he's still doing it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, that's the mindset. It happens. So, but you know, coming in, you know, and of course I get people that come in. I'll tell them like, you know, grapple, or I'll say, you know, let's do some knife training, or why don't you do some gun training with me, or knife training with me, or you know what I mean, or I'll refer them somewhere else where I think there's a better fit. You know what I mean? But
once you have next door set up, though,
I'll be able.
Once you have, you'll be able to help. You know.
Well, I'm
a range of people from.
I'm WIT certified, so I'm a
What
World International Training certification in sports training. So like, you know, working with athletes, stuff like that. Did some release work, medicine ball, dumbbells. Like, so I've got a bunch of different training, you know, not just with the martial arts stuff, that so I can work with other athletes. And, you know, yeah, once we have that room, we work with, you know, what I'm saying is like everybody's an athlete, just not everybody's a developed athlete. Right. Some people like develop faster than others. Some people were athletes and then haven't been an athlete in a long time, and they think, it's because I'm old, and it's just you haven't been moving.
Right.
You know what I mean? And some people, it's just, you know, you haven't opened up this range of motion in your hips. You know what I mean? Because you sit in a chair all day. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a bunch of different benefits that come from it. You know. So yeah, we'll be able to work with anybody at that point. Plus, it's working with guys. Like one of the benefits we're talking about, one of the sponsorships. You know, some of these guys coming in. You know what I mean? Come in and you work with Lee. You know what I mean? Like, come in and do privates with Lee. You know what I mean? You got three of your buddies come in. He's good enough to where, you know what I mean? You throw the kid $50, he'll work with you for an hour. You know what I mean? And you're going to get a benefit from it. You know? So.
I have a quite fucked up question, dude. I've seen the shit's all over the news. And before, I'm going to preface this by saying this. I'm not fucking a transphobe or anything, but what do you think about these trans women going into the MMA and beating the shit out of these women?
I don't think anything of it. I don't pay any attention to it. None of the real shows that I've been going to have been any of that. You know, I don't like.
It's just people covering it for drama.
Yeah.
You think that's what it is?
Make good news out of it.
Right. Yeah. It's not.
It's not worth our energy.
Yeah.
But it's not on a big. It's not on a big like a UFC scale like that.
No.
It's not. It's probably smaller shows.
And as a coach, I can't wait till I get a tough woman. You know what I mean? I can't wait because I really want to train. You know what I mean? I'm really looking to get my first female champion. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm not letting her fight a trans.
Anyway,
just because like it's just me as a coach, like it's not even it's not fair because like I mean there's girls out like I remember like before girls were getting big and fighting, like you meet a couple on judo mats once in a while. There's a couple of girls I met at judo mats. They'll whoop your ass. You know what I mean? Like they're good. You know, so like it's not. It doesn't matter. Like it's still the training. It's just to me. It just
seems unfair.
Yeah, it's just unfair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't support that. But
so what about fights coming up? Let us know. Like how many guys you got coming up on fights?
May 6th. I got Joe Cortigano fighting.
Yeah.
Cortigano fighting and Nestor Yuha.
When and where is that gonna be?
Mohegan Sun.
Mohegan Sun.
Well, keep us in the loop on that show.
And Nestor's fighting for a regional title.
May 6th.
You know, he's 4-4 right now, but he's undefeated in reality fighting. He's 1-2 there now, so that's why he's getting a shot in that show. You know, Nestor will keep busy. I mean, he's fought almost 8 times in 1 year. You know,
really?
He fought 5-6 times in a year. You know what I mean? That's the other thing too. Other teams aren't fighting like we are, but this is amateurs. Amateurs were fighting.
You gotta just keep fighting and fighting.
And we're fighting we're fighting guys that maybe on paper should beat us. You know what I mean? Aren't necessarily the fights like he fought a guy that was like a 3-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion. You know what I mean? And a 3-time like karate champion. Everybody was told on how awesome he is. He's gonna go pro. You know, we fought him. You know what I mean? He changed the way the kid's face looks forever. Yeah. But I
lost, but he didn't really hit me.
But we learned, you know, and now he's running and his cardio's up, and that shit will never happen again. He just ran out of gas. He got tired of whooping that dude's ass. That's what happened. You know, he ran out of steam at like 30 seconds left in the round to beat this dude's face off his body. So. Um,
Cardio is definitely way better
but
now.
yeah, May 6th though, and Joe's got a tough fight. We're fighting a local gym too. We're fighting Calandretti's guys. That's correct me if I'm wrong. Ultimate something fitness from North Haven, but I think he's an old Henzo guy. I think he's one of Henzo's first black belts in the area.
Really?
Yeah, they got a good boxing program and good jiu-jitsu program. But I think it's too separated. I think it's more one or the other. I don't think it's blended well.
Right.
And we're gonna find out though. You know what I mean? We're gonna definitely find out. I'm excited. I haven't lost to Calandretti's guys ever, so I don't think we're losing on that May 6th either. But
Cool.
it's a good gym, legit gym. You know what I mean? Definitely a legit gym.
Anything you want to tell anybody, say to anybody that's going on, or
Shoot. Happy Friday.
happy Friday? You want to tell them about the program a little bit before we take off, where they could reach us, phone numbers, email, anything, websites. Huh?
1806 East Main Street, Waterbury, Connecticut.
Yes, you can contact through me, or you can go directly to them. If you want to contact through us, you can come down to Powerflex Gym at 1806 East Main Street. That's where these guys are training. You can link us on the Iron Mindset. You can find us there, Iron Mindset, the real Iron Mindset at gmail.com. Do you have anywhere they can contact you besides the
Coach Savage Fighter on Instagram, and just get hold of me through you. You know what I mean? And let's start punching faces. If you're looking to punch faces, this is the place to be. If you're looking to get in great shape, looking for that edgy gym. You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna have all the thrills. I'll never have a gym with all the thrills, even if I can afford to. Yep. I don't want to. I don't think you can make diamonds in those gyms because you're the diamond. You're attracting stuff in that.
Yeah.
I want to build fighters. So
this is more of like an old school meets new school kind of gym.
Absolutely.
We got 100%. The older stuff. We got some newer equipment. That's being used. But it's more like, I think that training is raw, because people they'll say, well, I want to go to this gym because I got better equipment. Do you remember what the gyms looked like back in the days? I remember raw iron equipment. I remember training in other gyms, even during mixed martial arts. You would have the roughest, toughest stuff. You could build a killer with.
Thing is though, there's real people, but it's a nice gym and there's real people here though. There's big athletes, regular athletes, old people. There's just so many different people here, and it's just it's more of a gym, not so much of a Planet Fitness where come in, it's like people watching gym. It's more like a gym where you come in, you're getting what you get done.
You get stuff done.
But it's like it's kind of got like that dive bar feeling too.
It's more of like a family kind of feeling. A corporate
definitely,
feeling. You got that family. If anybody needs anything, it's always right there. You're always willing to help somebody. Somebody just walk up and say, "Hey, listen, I see you guys training. I was wondering about this." No one in this place is gonna say, "Hey, listen, kick rocks." They're gonna be like, "Oh, blah blah," or you know what? I'm working with somebody right now. Give me 5 minutes.
We might tell you to rub that on your chest though.
What's that?
It's either kick rocks or rub on your chest.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for.
But and if you're getting ready for fights and you're looking for a camp, hit us up. You know what I mean? Coming in, privates, that type of stuff. You know what I mean? If you just want to get in.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Anything?
No, like I said, man, I'm sitting back just listening to this because I'm like out of my league with MMA shit. So it just opened my eyes to a lot of shit.
Oh, definitely.
Really.
We'll definitely have a good
I want to link up with you after this.
Yeah, cool.
And I think that's about it, right?
That's it.
Are we good?
Yep, we're.
I think, and next week we have
yes,
Tracy Stanko.
Yep.
And she's going to talk about her foundation, Jane Doe No More. That will be a good one.
And then the following week we have, is that the following week? The 12th?
The following week would be, we're coming up on May 12th.
Yes.
Schedule will be John Hardy from CCDL. He also is at the gun store. And we're going to talk about Second Amendment, which is dwindling here in Connecticut with these fucking new gun laws they want to push through.
All right. Thanks everybody for watching.